Hey guys, Sav here. Welcome back to another World Cup analysis for the 2022 World Cup. In this episode, we're going to be dissecting Germany and Spain's second group match. Before the World Cup, it was regarded as one of the most highly anticipated group matches that was going to occur within the stage. And it wasn't because there were two giants versing each other. It was more so to do with culture, identity of football. Spain like to play their short passing combination in the middle to try and enter into the final third and create goal scoring opportunities. However, Germany like to be very aggressive in their press, looking to recapture the ball and play forward as soon as they could. They sort of resonate with Barcelona in Spain and Bayern Munich in Germany. Both teams adapt a similar playing style. You could see the cultures coming out when they did verse each other. Now to add, the reason why I was so keen to watch this game is because with Germany, with Spain, you know what you're going to get. They're the peak of football when it comes to their own identity. When you watch Australia play, my country, when you watch other teams play, even France, you don't know what you're going to get because they really don't have an identity. Now, I'm not saying that having an identity is good or bad, and I'm not saying not having an identity is good or bad. I'm just saying you know what you're going to get, and you have good players, you have a good team, they're two giants, it's a good matchup. And the footballing identity is great to see when it's on the field, but it's also about the history as well. Spain and Germany, obviously it's a big matchup, not because they're two teams, they've obviously got history prior to this World Cup, and it's the same with Barcelona and Bayern Munich. They have history as well. However, the game, for me, in my opinion, didn't turn out to how I envisioned it. This is my opinion. When it comes to tactics, the most important thing is execution and setting your team up to score those goals based off those tactics. And Spain, on one hand, yes, they were playing through the middle and doing and identifying with their short combination play, but the way they set up in the final third didn't help them at all, with their front three mainly playing between the lines. Now, Germany, on the other hand, they didn't have a traditional 9, so whenever they recaptured the ball, it ended up being a waste. So Spain, yes, you can pass all day, but if you're not scoring, then you can't win games. Same with Germany. They were recapturing the ball, but they ended up losing it most of the time whenever they recaptured it. And they were often put on the back foot whenever Spain ended up winning the ball back during that transitional moment. Now, in saying that, the game did light up at a point, and we're going to jump into the tactical analysis soon. But the reason why I was really upset with the game was because of the back four of both teams. You have Spain, who had Rodri in the center half, at the center half. If I was Germany, I would have made the sub on for Fulkrug to come on almost immediately. You could see the impact that he was having when he came on. And it's the same with Spain as well. Playing in the final third, playing in between the lines in the final third, to me, wasn't really a smart decision based off Germany's back four. They haven't really been good at defending these past couple years. And they say that there's a generational back four coming into play with Rudiger and Rom. But defensively speaking, I think that, yes, they are a strong team. But when it comes, I think they're going to lose the World Cup based off their defense. So they'll be strong going forward, but I really do think that they're not going to be able to hold out games based off their defensive capability. So when I was watching the game, as soon as I figured it out in around 15 minutes, when I saw Rodri playing at the center half, I was just waiting for a 9 to come on. That's when the game lit up, and that's when we started to see the execution of their tactics become whole. So we're going to jump into the tactical analysis really quickly, and we'll dissect what was different when the 9s came on. So let's just jump straight into it. So in the red markers, we have Spain lining up in a 4-3-3 with Germany lining up in a 4-2-1-3. It's obvious that Spain is trying to emulate the style of play and the system that they used to win the World Cup back in 2010. In saying this, with the 4-3-3 system, as opposed to the 4-2-1-3 system, you're able to actually use the fullbacks a lot more effectively than the 4-2-1-3 system. This is because the ability to have more defensive depth within the middle and back thirds due to the 3 midfielders, and you're able to utilize those fullbacks more effectively higher up the pitch without being worried too much on the counter. Now, during the main moment of the first half, Spain used up build-up play with midfield rotation, with their main aim to use short passing combination play to progress into the final third. A benefit of this positional setup is that teammates can also back each other up during transition into defense. This in turn allowed Spain to recapture the ball and hold more possession than Germany. At times, Germany would commit men forward, as you see right now, in a 4-4-2 styled press, and it actually did work for them at times. However, it also put them on the back foot, as well as Spain also liked to counter press the ball during transition. As Spain progressed further up the pitch, they used Asensio as a false 9 to drop in between the lines and help navigate Germany's high press. Now, as Spain progressed further up the pitch, it was obvious that Spain were using a false 9 system with Asensio dropping in between the lines. On top of this, the wingers would stay narrow, allowing the fullbacks to make a run into the wing space up in the final third. And they were almost rewarded with a goal, with both left and right backs getting into a position to make a dangerous cross into the box. However, due to a lack of physical presence, Spain weren't able to capitalize on their chances. And like I said before, the tactics used by both coaches were great. Germany's press was definitely much more coordinated than how they pressed against Japan. And Spain were doing really well in recapturing the ball with their man-to-man marking system. I was waiting around for a long time for them to make a substitution. I honestly thought one team was going to make the substitution at the break, but it didn't end up happening until around the 60th minute when Morata came on. So as Morata came on, he actually scored within the first touch of the game. And I honestly think it's because that the defenders of Germany had a very easy time marking Asensio and the left and right wingers during the first half. And they just weren't used to a traditional 9 making those runs into the box and being physically present in this area. Now, the goal ended up being scored the way that they were trying to play in the first half. Stay narrow with their wingers, get Jordi Alba up. Alba was able to find a space in this area and make a cross in. But the thing is, though, here is that Rudiger, if you watch the goal again, Morata tried to make a run here and Rudiger followed him. If these two were talking, then he would know that he would have to cover this space sort of here and not follow, and he would be able to push on there. But he didn't. He ended up coming out here like this. Morata came out, and then he actually ended up getting in front of him to get that ball in, and then he could play a first-time touch into the goals. So in my belief, I think the goal was scored because of a misunderstanding of space. Now, in regards to Germany's goal, the biggest tactical change that they made was having Musiala as a central lone playmaker. So he was able to just take this central role a lot more freely, as opposed to playing on the wing and coming in invertedly. This allowed him to create more chances and being able to take touches in positions where he was able to go forward. And they looked definitely a lot more better once Musiala was able to be put into that position. Now, in terms of the goal, yes, Musiala was able to take that touch outward. However, even though it was right here that he took his touch, even though he took it outward and he was able to go in forward, I think that this player here was able to definitely defend it, but because of Füllkrug's presence and physical ability, he was able to just take the ball and score. It looked so much easier for him, and that's what was missing for Germany as well in the first half. Even though they had Thomas Muller, who was pressing really, really well, I think that physical presence would have put Rodri, who was in that centre half position, in a lot more pressure, because Füllkrug would have been physically present in this area, putting pressure on these two centre backs as they played that ball once they won it, and he would have been able to make those runs in behind as a traditional 9 does. And again, I think it was a very good game overall. Tactically speaking, I was waiting for the change to happen, and I was glad it did, because that sort of brought the game into life when it came to tactics, the execution of tactics. I still think Germany and Spain are up there to go all the way, but I do think that based off this game, Spain are looking more stronger than Germany.